My wife, the woman who promised to spend her life with me under my wedding vows, has betrayed me. The words cheating cut my heart like a cold blade, again and again. What's more, I can't accept that the person she cheated with was a student at her gym. My name is Jack, I'm 42 years old, and I work as a lawyer in a law firm in Los Angeles. My wife, Emily, is 5 years younger than me and is a dynamic fitness instructor. We met at a gym near Venice Beach. At the time, she was full of sunshine, confidence, and radiated health, which deeply attracted me. We fell in love, got married, bought a house together in Santa Monica, and life seemed happy and perfect. Emily worked at a gym called Infinite Vitality in the heart of West Hollywood. It was the fashion center of Los Angeles, full of energy and passion. Emily was very popular there, and I was proud and a little uneasy that her students all liked her. Recently, I've started to notice something wrong with Emily.
I always thought of marriage as a pot of carefully tended flowers, requiring love, patience, and money to fertilize. And I, Tom Wilson, a man who runs a small flower shop on the corner of Jamaica Avenue in Queens, New York, always thought that my marriage to Mary was the most delicate rose in the greenhouse. It wasn't until Valentine's Day that I realized I was the fool who had been kept in the dark. Mary, my wife, is 10 years younger than me, 35 years old. She is a beauty, with blonde hair and eyes that sparkle like the summer sun when she smiles. We have been married for 10 years and run the flower shop forever blooming together. I am an honest man, 45 years old, and work hard every day, determined to expand the flower shop and give Mary a better life. I thought she understood my heart and loved me for who I am. The florist business is always extremely busy on the eve of Valentine's Day.
She's become distracted and pays less and less attention to me. At night, she's always holding her phone and giggling at the screen. When I ask her what she's looking at, she always gives vague answers, saying it's workout advice from her students. As a lawyer, I have an innate sensitivity to lies. Emily's erratic behavior has made me increasingly suspicious. I started to keep an eye on her movements and secretly checked her phone. Although I knew it was despicable, my marriage was at stake and I couldn't just sit back and do nothing. Finally, I found some clues. In Emily's phone, I saw some ambiguous messages from a man named Taylor, a member of Emily's gym. The content of the messages was indecent, full of explicit flirting and intimate nicknames. My heart sank to the bottom in an instant. Anger, humiliation, pain, all kinds of emotions flooded my mind, almost drowning me. I couldn't believe that my beloved wife would do such a thing. I decided to find out the truth. I wanted to see for myself who this Tyler was and what had developed between him and Emily. I began to secretly investigate Tyler. Using the messages on Emily's phone, I found Taylor's social media accounts. He is a young fitness enthusiast with a strong body and handsome appearance. He is very active on social media, often posting fitness photos and videos that have attracted many followers. I studied Taylor's social media accounts carefully and found that he often checked in at the Infinite Vitality gym, and Emily often appeared in his updates. They worked out together, took photos together, and behaved intimately with each other, with flirtatious looks in their eyes. These photos, like sharp knives, pierced my eyes. To confirm my suspicions, I decided to go to the Infinite Vitality gym myself. I lied and said that I wanted to go to the gym too, and got a trial card. The atmosphere in the gym was lively, full of energy and sweat. I saw Emily at once. She was wearing a tight sportswear and was coaching the trainees. Her face was full of a bright smile, the kind I hadn't seen at home for a long time. My eyes were drawn to a tall man. He was standing next to Emily, and the two of them were working together in perfect harmony, moving intimately with each other. This man was Tyler. Their interactions were full of the tacit understanding and intimacy of a couple, and they didn't look like just an ordinary trainer and trainee at all. My heart felt like it was being squeezed by an invisible hand, and I could hardly breathe. I suppressed the anger in my heart and continued to observe them. I saw Emily and Taylor secretly holding hands during breaks, whispering to each other, and gazing at each other with loving eyes. All of this made me feel sick and angry. I decided to surprise Emily with a surprise that she would never forget. Every year, the Energy Unlimited Gym holds a fitness competition to showcase the achievements of its members and to celebrate the gym's anniversary. This year's competition is taking place next Saturday. I learned that Emily and Tyler will both participate in the competition. I decided to surprise the gym on the day of the competition and expose Emily and Tyler's scandalous behavior so that they will be humiliated in front of everyone. I want Emily to know that the price of betraying me is one she cannot afford to pay. To carry out my plan, I enlisted the help of my best friend, Mike. Mike and I grew up together and are the most reliable and loyal people in our circle of friends. I told Mike about Emily's betrayal, and he was furious when he heard. He said he would definitely help me get justice. Mike is a burly ex-soldier with a hot temper and a strong sense of justice. After hearing my plan, he immediately started making preparations. He rented a camera van for me and installed a high-definition camera to record Emily and Tyler's misdeeds throughout the day of the competition. In addition to Mike, I also found Emily's best friend, Sarah. Sarah and Emily were college classmates and have always been very close. I hope that through Sarah, I can learn more about Emily and Tyler, and I also hope that Sarah will stand by my side and help me persuade Emily to mend her ways. Sarah was also shocked and outraged when she heard what I had to say. She said that she had always regarded Emily as her best friend and never imagined that she would do such a thing. Sarah promised to help me and that she would find an opportunity to talk to Emily and persuade her to return to the right path. The day of the competition finally arrived. Mike, Sarah, and I went to the gym together. The gym was packed with people. The music was deafening, and the participants were wearing sexy workout clothes as they showed off their muscles and bodies on the stage. Emily stood in the center of the stage in a flaming red bikini, looking dazzling, like a shining star. Her body was more toned, her muscle lines more flowing, and it was obvious that she had put in a lot of effort for this competition. However, I couldn't take my eyes off Tyler standing next to her. Tyler was also wearing workout clothes that revealed his toned muscles. They stood side by side, like a perfect match. Their eyes exchanged love and understanding, as if the whole world was just the two of them. The competition has begun, and the trainees take turns to go on stage to show off their talents. Some show off their strength, some their flexibility, and some dance. The audience is enthusiastic, with applause, cheers, and screams, one after the other, pushing the atmosphere to a climax. Finally, it was Emily and Tyler's turn. The host introduced them with great enthusiasm. Next, please welcome our gym's gold medal coach Emily and her star student Tyler, who will give you a special performance. The music started, a rhythmic pop dance song from Europe and the United States. Emily and Tyler danced to the beat of the music. Their dance was passionate and full of energy. Emily's every movement is full of power and beauty, and her smile is charming and moving, as if proclaiming her joy and happiness to the world. However, what I saw in my eyes was a different scene. Emily and Taylor's dance was more of a passionate flirt than a performance. Their bodies fit together closely, their eyes full of flirtatiousness and desire, and every movement they made was full of sexual innuendo. The stage lighting was hazy and ambiguous, highlighting the figures of Emily and Taylor even more enchantingly and sensually. The audience was captivated by their performance and erupted into cheers and screams. However, my heart was bleeding. I couldn't bear what I was seeing, and I couldn't hold back the anger in my heart any longer. I rushed onto the stage and pulled Emily and Tyler, who were dancing, away. My sudden appearance froze the atmosphere. The music stopped abruptly, and all eyes were focused on me. Emily was startled by my actions, and she looked at me in horror, her eyes full of panic and unease. Tyler looked confused, as if he still hadn't figured out what was going on. "Jack? Why are you here?" Emily's voice trembled slightly as she tried to hide her panic, but her eyes betrayed her. "Why am I here?" "Emily, you dare to ask me why I'm here? Look at what you're doing. What do you think this place is? What do you think marriage and vows are?" My voice was hoarse with anger, and my chest was heaving as if it were about to explode. "Jack, you've got it all wrong. It's not what you think. Emily tried to explain, but her voice sounded so pale and weak. Wrong? Emily, are you still trying to argue? I saw it with my own eyes, you and this man, on stage, in full view of everyone, dancing such a lewd dance, and you dare say it's a misunderstanding? I pointed at Tyler and yelled at Emily. Taylor seemed to finally understand what had happened. His face turned pale and his eyes were filled with fear. He tried to hide behind Emily, but my gaze was fixed on him. You are Taylor, right? Emily's star pupil, right? You seduce other people's wives and destroy other people's families. Do you feel honored? I turned my head and said coldly to Taylor. Taylor was intimidated by my aura and stuttered, No. No. Mr. Jack, you really misunderstood. There is nothing between Emily and me. Nothing? Then what are these? What about these ambiguous messages, these intimate photos, and these provocative dances? I took out my phone from my pocket and showed the chat history and photos between Emily and Taylor to the audience. There was an uproar in the gym, and the audience began to discuss the matter, with accusations and insults flying about. Emily's face instantly turned pale, and she knew that it was all over. Jack, please, don't do this. Let's go home and talk about it, okay? There are too many people here. Emily took my arm and pleaded. Her eyes were red, and tears welled up in them, making her look pitiful. In the past, if I saw Emily cry, I would definitely feel soft-hearted and forgive her. But now, when I see her tears, I only feel disgust and nausea. Her tears are crocodile tears, hypocritical tears, and cheap tears. Go home? Emily, do you still want to go home? Do you think there is still a home between us? From the moment you betrayed me, our home no longer existed. I coldly shook off Emily's hand and said resolutely, Jack, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. Please forgive me this once. I promise I will never do it again. Emily fell to her knees in front of me, hugging my legs and crying bitterly. Her actions aroused the sympathy of the audience around her, and some people began to persuade me to forgive Emily. Sarah also came over and took my arm, whispering, Jack, forget it. Emily has already known she was wrong. Give her a chance. Looking at Emily, who was kneeling on the ground, crying bitterly, my heart remained as cold as iron. Forgive her? How could I possibly forgive her? She betrayed me, hurt me, trampled on my dignity, and destroyed my marriage. How could I forgive her so easily? Emily, you were wrong. Some mistakes cannot be made up for. You betrayed me and our marriage, and you must pay the price, I said coldly, my voice full of determination and coldness. Price? What price? Jack, what do you really want? Emily looked up at me in horror, her eyes full of fear and unease. I want you to be disgraced. I want you to lose everything. I want you to pay a painful price for your betrayal. My voice was like the devil from hell, full of gloom and horror. My words made the air around me freeze. The audience was shocked by my harsh words, and they all gasped in horror. No one dared to persuade me anymore. Emily's face turned even paler, and her body began to tremble. I bent down, grabbed Emily by the hair, and dragged her up from the floor. My actions were rough and ruthless, completely devoid of the tenderness and compassion I had previously shown. Emily, starting today, you are no longer my wife. Get out of my home, get out of my life, and I never want to see you again. I yelled at Emily, my voice echoing throughout the gym. Emily was terrified by my actions. She screamed and struggled desperately to get away from me. But I was too strong, and she couldn't break free. I dragged Emily out of the gym like a dead dog and left her on the street. Then I turned around and went back into the gym to find Taylor. Taylor was still standing on the stage, looking dazed, as if he hadn't come back to his senses yet. I walked up to Taylor and, without saying a word, punched him hard in the face. Taylor let out a scream, covering his face as he fell to the ground. My fists rained down on him, leaving him a pitiful sight with a bloody nose and swollen face. Mike saw what was happening and quickly stepped in to pull me off and calm me down. I panted heavily, looking at Taylor, who was lying on the ground like a dead dog, and my anger subsided a little. "Mike, call the police. I want to sue them for adultery. I want them to be punished by the law," I said to Mike, my voice still full of anger and hatred. Mike nodded and immediately called the police. The police arrived quickly and took Emily and Tyler away. The gym was in a mess, and the audience dispersed, leaving only Mike, me, and the mess in silence. Sarah came over to me and gave me a silent pat on the shoulder, reassuring me, "Jack, don't be too sad, everything will pass." I shook my head and didn't say a word. My heart still felt empty and cold, as if it had been emptied. I knew that my marriage to Emily was completely over. Our love, our vows, and all the good things we had once had all burst like bubbles. In the days that followed, I began to deal with the divorce. Emily was taken into police custody and Tyler was admitted to hospital. I hired a lawyer and prepared to sue them for adultery so that they would pay the price. The divorce process was long and painful. Emily and I were full of arguments and accusations. She tried to salvage the marriage, crying and begging me to forgive her, even threatening to die. But my heart was already completely dead. I no longer felt any affection for her, only disgust and hatred. In the end, we got divorced. Emily left our home with nothing, left Los Angeles, and went somewhere I don't know and don't want to know. Taylor was also punished by the law, sentenced to probation, and paid a huge sum in compensation. After the divorce, I sold the house in Santa Monica and moved back to an apartment downtown. I quit my job at the law firm and started my own business, opening a small law firm. My life returned to peace. But inside, I was left with an unhealable scar. Emily's infidelity completely changed the trajectory of my life, and I lost all faith in marriage and love. I began to distrust women and disbelieve in love. I devoted all my energy to work. I worked hard, earned money, and tried to become stronger, colder, and more ruthless. A few years later, my law firm grew and became a well-known law firm in Los Angeles. I became a successful lawyer, with wealth, status, and reputation. But inside, I was still empty and lonely. I occasionally thought of Emily and the good times we had together. But these good memories were quickly replaced by the painful memories of her betrayal. Whenever I think of Emily, an uncontrollable surge of anger and hatred wells up in my heart. I know that I can never forgive Emily. Her betrayal is like a cancer that has taken root in my heart and can never be eradicated. Marriage, love, vows, loyalty, all these beautiful words have become a joke to me. I no longer believe in love. I no longer believe in marriage. I only believe in money, only in power, only in myself. This is my story, a story of betrayal, revenge, and marriage breakdown. This story may make you feel uncomfortable, angry, or sad. But this is real life, this is real marriage, and this is the dark side of human nature. If you like my story, please subscribe to my channel, and I will continue to bring you more exciting, wonderful, and fascinating stories.